All right, so today we're doing something a little different.
Ooh,
We're going to be taking a look at a music video.
interesting.
Yeah, and this music video is called Vagabond
Okay.
by Pierre Jean, featuring TJO Zenny.
Er,
And, you might be thinking, like, why are we talking about a music video?
Why?
This is a podcast.
Yeah.
But we're going to be taking a look at a small snippet of the lyrics from this music video.
Okay, cool.
And I think you'll be pretty surprised by what we find, even in just these few words that we're looking at.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so we've got, like, some pretty intense emotions kind of baked into these lyrics.
Yeah, what kind of emotions are we talking about?
So, like, fear, regret,
Yeah.
maybe even, like, remorse.
Okay, heavy stuff.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive in and see what we can uncover.
Let's do it.
So, one of the things that really jumps out at me right away
Okay.
is just how, like, fragmented these lyrics are.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're looking at, like, broken pieces of a mirror or something.
It's true, like little shards of emotion.
Yeah, exactly. And yet, like, even though they're so fragmented, you can still see, like, these really raw emotions
Yeah, for sure.
just kind of, like, bursting through.
Yeah, and one of the things that really stands out to me is the repetition.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some of these phrases are repeated over and over again.
Totally. And I think, like, the first one that we've got to talk about is j'ai peur,
Yeah, right? Which means,
I'm afraid.
yeah.
And, it's said, like, several times
Many times.
throughout these lyrics, and it's almost like
It's like
a heartbeat.
Yeah, like a pulse.
Yeah, exactly, like pulsing through the whole thing.
Totally.
So I guess, like, what do you make of that, like, this fear that seems to be, like, so central to what's going on here?
Right. Well, I mean, the big question is like, where's this fear coming from?
Yeah.
Is this something specific, like a past trauma that's haunting the speaker?
Ooh.
Or is it something more kind of existential, like this fear of the unknown that I think we all kind of grapple with?
Yeah, that's a good point. And, the music video itself,
Right.
it's pretty abstract, but there are some recurring images, and I don't want to spoil it for the listener.
Sure.
But, like, visually, there are things that could definitely contribute to, like, a sense of unease.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like the visuals and the lyrics kind of work together to create this unsettling vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
And then there's this other line that I think adds, like, another whole layer to what we're talking about.
Okay.
It's dans le monde de ma mémoire,
Ooh. Okay.
which means in the world of my memory.
In the world of my memory. Interesting.
And this makes me think about how our memories can be, like, such a powerful force.
Totally. They
Yeah.
can be both positive and negative.
Exactly.
Able.
Like, they can bring us comfort, but they can also really torment us.
Absolutely.
And so I wonder if maybe this speaker here is haunted by certain memories.
Yeah, it's possible, right?
Yeah, like maybe those memories are contributing to this feeling of fear.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so there's another line that I have to ask you about,
Okay.
because this one really threw me for a loop.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so it's nous souffrez pour plaisir. We suffer for pleasure.
We suffer for pleasure.
What do you make of that?
I mean, at first glance, that seems almost contradictory.
Yeah.
Because usually we think of suffering and pleasure as like opposites.
Totally.
But I think what makes this line so interesting is that it suggests that maybe those two things aren't always so separate.
Yeah, and maybe they're even connected somehow.
Right. Exactly. Like
Oh.
maybe we can't have one without the other.
That's deep.
Yeah, so I think this line could be interpreted in a couple of different ways.
Okay.
It could suggest a cycle of like self-destructive behavior,
Oh, interesting.
where the speaker seeks out pain, even if it's unconsciously,
Okay.
as a way to experience pleasure.
Okay.
Or it could be more of a commentary on the human condition itself.
Okay.
Like this idea that pleasure and suffering are often intertwined.
Wow. Yeah, like there's no rose without a thorn kind of thing.
Exactly, but taken to a whole other level.
To a whole other level. Wow.
Yeah, and then just when you think you're starting to get a handle on things,
Yeah.
we get hit with this apology.
Oh, je suis désolé.
Right, I'm sorry.
Like, who is that apology directed at?
Right, it's like this big question mark hanging over the whole thing.
Yeah. Is it themselves?
Maybe.
Someone they've hurt?
Possibly.
Or, like, is it even something bigger?
Ooh,
Like the universe itself?
that's a really interesting thought.
Right.
I think the ambiguity is what makes it so powerful.
Totally.
Because it leaves us with all these questions.
It really makes you think.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess, like, what's the takeaway here? What are we left with after listening to these lyrics and kind of thinking about them in this way?
Well, I think we're definitely dealing with a lot of internal conflict. Like you said, fear, regret, this struggle between pleasure and suffering.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's not a simple story.
No, it's not. And I think that's part of what makes it so compelling.
Right. Because it's messy and complicated, and that's kind of like real life.
Yeah, and I love how, even though these lyrics are so fragmented,
Yeah.
they still manage to create this really vivid, emotional landscape.
Absolutely.
And it's a landscape that I think each listener can kind of explore and interpret in their own way.
For sure. I mean, that's the beauty of art, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up to you to decide what it means to you.
Exactly.
So, to our listener out there, I think the next step is to actually experience the Vagabond music video for yourself.
Definitely.
And see how the visuals play with these emotions that we've been talking about.
Right, because the visuals add a whole other layer.
Totally. Like, do the images contradict the words?
Or do they amplify them?
Yeah, like how does it all fit together?
It's a puzzle.
Yeah, and you get to try to put the pieces together.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's your homework.
Go watch the video.
Go watch the video, think about these lyrics, and then come back and tell us what you think.
We want to hear your interpretations.
Yeah.
This is a conversation.
Absolutely.
So let's keep it going.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
See you next time.
Bye.